Hello and welcome once again to Tileford. I've made a bit of progress on the layout over the course of the last few weeks, and I've got to the point where I think I've done enough to want to share with you some of the things that I've been up to. So this video really will bring you up to speed with the work that's been done so far, and I also will share with you some of the things that I need to be getting on with over the course of the next few weeks. So I hope you enjoy it, I hope you find it interesting and informative. Here we go. Now, in my last update I showed you the work that had been done around laying the track, and I'd managed to get a reasonable amount of the track down. Since then I've just about finished all of the track laying, which is great news. And just as a reminder that the track is Pico code 75 with the concrete sleepers, and basically the layout is set somewhere on the Great Western main line around Reading, and we therefore have two main lines and two relief lines. So I'll walk you around the layout and you can see for yourself the track as we go. First area is the station, and the station is long enough to be able to accommodate one of the Class 800 IEPs, the new Hitachi trains that are running on the main line, as well as having room for some HSTs. And even though HSTs aren't running in the real world around where I live, they certainly will be running here. So as you can see, 3 platforms on the station, the Tileford station. Then moving round at the end of the platform, we've got a reasonably complicated junction and crossovers to enable trains to switch between the main line and the relief line. Following that round, we've got the 4 lines, and what I've done here is put in just a couple of sidings. Rather than going for the concrete track, I've gone for the wooden sleeper track here. And the idea of these 2 lines, or these 2 sidings I should say, is I thought it'd be quite cool to have space for some old and abandoned and condemned wagons, and as you can see I've got a couple of them already in here, and of course I can use a little bit of space for, you know, sticking some locos there if I wanted to. Anyway, so back to the 4 main lines, which then sweep round the curve. Now, going backwards, you'll see there's a spur here, and again that's where the track switches from the concrete sleepers to the more traditional wooden sleepers. In again, in the real world, in my journeys between Reading and Paddington, I see at least two sort of cement and stoneworks. So I wanted to replicate that. So this 5th line really is designed to serve an industrial unit where there will be the unloading of stone and aggregates. As you can see, I've got the tower there already. I've also bought one of the Falla kits, which I'll be putting together, and that I hope will give a really good representation of the aggregate sort of facilities that you see around Hayes, and you know, that sort of part of the line. So following that round, oh, and also actually what I've also done here is put in one of the KD uncoupling units. Had to get the chisel out and make room for the magnet, but I've managed to get that just about flush. So the idea is that obviously the loco will be able to uncouple from the stone trains, and then make use of a head shunt there, which again just gives a little bit more storage. As you can see, there's another junction here which will again give the opportunity for a bit of flexibility between the different lines, and then we move into the fiddle yard, which is actually sort of set track code 100, but I've tried to give myself a reasonable amount of space to store as many trains as possible. So one of the main objectives was to have less track than was the case on Tileford's predecessor, Caversham Central. Caversham Central, I think, had 6, maybe even 7 lines coming through the station, so we've got rid of 3 there. And I hope from going round the layout that it looks fairly realistic. I've tried to make a bit of interest with just some of the curves. I've also tried to make the curves as sweeping and as gentle as possible, given the space that I have available to me. So I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Hopefully no one will say it's rubbish, rip it all up and start again, because it's taken me a heck of a long time to even get to this stage. Just flipping underneath the boards, I've, hopefully you can see there, got the power bus, and again been wiring up the droppers, and that's going to be one of the jobs that I'll continue doing. There's still a reasonable amount of wiring to be done. So in terms of the work still to go on, I have installed some of the point motors. So again, if I just dip under the baseboard, you can see there that we've got the DCC Concepts Colbert IP motors, which are hooked up to the ECOS command center. In total, I think there's about 14 points, of which I've done 4. So a big part of what I'm going to be doing will be wiring up these underneath the baseboard. I have to be honest, it's probably the part of modelling that I dislike the most. Electrics, not really my thing. So I'm just going to have to, suck it up and get on with getting those installed. So we've got a couple to go there. We've got one over here, and then really we get to this junction, and there's, I think, 5 that need to go in. So that will take a reasonable amount of time in order to get those sorted out. Other than that, really, I think it's just a case of, there's a few last bits of track that I want to glue down. This is still loose at the moment, the head shunt. So it's a case of just gluing down the last few pieces of track, and then inserting spare sleepers into the gaps in the track work. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this is all looking so far. So that's really it from me. I don't want to go on and bore you too much with what is, after all, fairly mundane stuff, but I'm looking forward to getting these point motors installed and starting to get some more regular trains running. I've made a few purchases of items of rolling stock, which I'll share with you probably in future videos. But for today, at least, that's it from me. As I say, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. Obviously, any comments, always really welcome, and I will share an update with you again as soon as I've got something worthwhile taking your time out to catch up with. Anyway, so thanks for checking in, and I'll see you guys again hopefully really soon. Thanks a lot. Cheers.